On November 2017, a man walked into a small church in rural Texas and opened fire. 26 people were killed. But the death toll could have been far worse if it weren't for a barefoot man in his underwear, an AR-15 he built himself, and 2 shots that changed everything. This is the story of Stephen Willeford. Sutherland Springs, Texas. Population, around 600. The kind of town where everyone knows everyone. First Baptist Church held Sunday service the same way it had for decades. Families, kids, elderly members filling the pews. At approximately 11:20 a.m., 26-year-old Devin Patrick Kelly pulled into the church parking lot in a white Ford Explorer. He was dressed head to toe in black tactical gear, wearing a ballistic vest and a Shomer Tech skull mask. He carried a Ruger AR-556 rifle. Kelly had a history. He'd been court-martialed and convicted of domestic assault while serving in the Air Force in 2012. He fractured his infant stepson's skull and assaulted his wife. He served 12 months in military confinement and received a bad conduct discharge. The Air Force was supposed to submit his conviction to the FBI's National Criminal Information Center database. They never did. That failure allowed Kelly to pass background checks and legally purchase firearms. He started firing outside the church, then walked through the front door. Inside, there were roughly 50 people attending the service. Kelly moved methodically through the church, firing round after round. He reloaded multiple times. Victims ranged in age from 18 months to 77 years old. Among the dead were 8 members of the Holcomb family, 3 generations, a pregnant woman and her unborn child. The church pastor's 14-year-old daughter, Annabelle Pomeroy. 26 people were killed. 20 more were wounded. It was the deadliest mass shooting in Texas history. The attack lasted roughly 4 to 5 minutes, but what happened next is what separates this story from so many others. Stephen Willeford was a 55-year-old plumber and former NRA firearms instructor. He lived across the street from the church. He was home when his daughter ran in and told him she heard rapid gunfire coming from First Baptist. Willeford didn't hesitate. He grabbed his AR-15, a rifle he had built himself, and loaded a magazine. He didn't grab shoes. He didn't grab a shirt. He ran out the door barefoot, wearing nothing but his underwear and a pair of pants he barely pulled on. As he approached the church, Kelly was walking out the front door. The 2 men saw each other at roughly the same time. Willeford took cover behind a truck parked across the street. Kelly had body armor. Willeford knew he needed precision. He fired. His first round hit Kelly in the upper left torso, in a gap between the ballistic plates. Kelly stumbled. Willeford fired again, hitting Kelly in the left thigh. Kelly dropped his rifle, pulled out a Glock 19 handgun, and returned fire. A bullet grazed Willeford's arm and hit the truck he was using for cover. Despite being wounded, Willeford kept engaging. As Kelly scrambled into his Ford Explorer and sped away, Willeford fired 1 more round through the vehicle's rear window. The shooter was running. Willeford ran into the road and flagged down the first vehicle he saw. A black Dodge pickup driven by Johnny Langendorf, a 27-year-old local who had no idea what was happening. Willeford jumped into the truck and told Langendorf, "That guy just shot up the Baptist church. We need to stop him." Langendorf didn't ask questions. He hit the gas. What followed was a high-speed chase through rural Texas, reaching speeds over 90 miles per hour. Willeford kept his rifle trained out the window. He called 911 during the pursuit, relaying their location to dispatchers in real time. After roughly 11 miles, Kelly lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a ditch on the side of the road. Willeford jumped out, took a firing position behind Langendorf's truck, and aimed at the driver's side of the Explorer. "Get out of the truck," Willeford yelled. Kelly didn't move. When law enforcement arrived minutes later, they found Kelly dead inside the vehicle. He had 3 gunshot wounds, 2 from Willeford and 1 self-inflicted. The medical examiner determined Willeford's shots would have been fatal on their own. In the days that followed, Willeford gave several interviews. He was emotional. He said he wasn't a hero. He said he was just a man who did what he felt God was calling him to do. "I kept prior training in prior days, prior years," he told reporters. "I knew I had to act. I was scared to death. I was sure I was going to die." When asked why he ran toward the gunfire, Willeford gave an answer that became iconic in the self-defense community. "I didn't think about it. I just acted." Johnny Langendorf was also recognized for his role. Two ordinary citizens, a plumber and a truck driver, stopped a massacre from getting worse and prevented the shooter from reaching another target. Investigators later confirmed Kelly had sent threatening texts to his mother-in-law, who sometimes attended First Baptist. They believed the church was targeted because of a domestic dispute. The Air Force later acknowledged its failure to report Kelly's conviction, and the Department of Defense launched a review of military reporting procedures. Stephen Willeford didn't carry that day. He wasn't on duty. He wasn't a cop. He was a civilian who trained, who built his own rifle, who knew how to use it, and when the moment came, he ran toward the danger barefoot. Some people say ordinary citizens can't stop extraordinary evil. Sutherland Springs proved otherwise. 2 rounds, placed with precision under pressure by a barefoot man who had seconds to act. If this story impacted you, subscribe and turn on notifications. We cover real stories like this every week.